Don't ignore this, a secret letter from your soulmate has arrived for you. Jesus says you are not reading this by accident and you are not here by coincidence. Jesus says something has shifted in the spiritual realm in the last few hours concerning your love. Jesus says a letter has been written from the heart of your soulmate and it has arrived for you now. You felt a sudden restlessness deep in your chest just before this moment and you did not understand why. You felt a strange pull towards something unseen as if someone was trying to reach you across the distance. That was your soulmate pressing through every barrier just to send you a signal tonight. Their heart is crying out for you in a way that words cannot fully capture. They are sitting somewhere right now staring at nothing while their thoughts are completely consumed by you. A tear they cannot explain has been forming in their eyes for days and they do not know how to stop it. They have been trying to get a message to you through dreams you barely remember upon waking. They have been sending waves of love toward you during the quiet hours when the world goes still. You have been feeling them without realizing it, and that is why your heart has been heavy lately. Jesus says the enemy has placed a blockage between you and your soulmate that is growing stronger by the day. Jesus says there is a person near your soulmate who despises the thought of your union and works against it constantly. Jesus says this interference has convinced your soulmate that you may have forgotten them entirely. Your soulmate is not ignoring you and they have never stopped loving you, not even for a single breath. Your soulmate is being fed lies about you by someone who wants your connection permanently destroyed. Your soulmate is emotionally imprisoned by a force they do not fully understand and they need you desperately. They wake up every morning reaching for you on the other side of the bed. They whisper your name into the empty air hoping somehow you will hear them. They are fighting a battle you cannot see and their strength is beginning to fail them now. The person blocking your union has planted seeds of doubt inside your soulmate's mind for months. The person blocking your union tells your soulmate that you have moved on and found someone else. The person blocking your union celebrates every day that you remain silent and inactive in the spirit. Jesus says the veil is being pulled back tonight so you can finally see what has been hidden from you. Jesus says your soulmate's heart is an open wound that only your love can heal right now. Jesus says you were chosen before the foundation of the world to be the protector of this sacred bond. You are not merely someone who crossed paths with another person by random chance. You were hand-selected by divine intelligence to be the earthly guardian of a love that was forged in eternity. Your soulmate knows this truth deep inside, but the interference has clouded their spiritual vision. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, and you must not delay what heaven is asking of you. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps because you are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside you know this love did not come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, and faith in Jesus does so. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, and this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description. And every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love, so act now and send 4 or 6 or 10 or more coffees, and after sending write "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, and the link is in the Description: and over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. So step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Your soulmate had a dream about you 3 nights ago that left them sobbing into their pillow. In the dream you were standing on the other side of a glass wall reaching for them, but something kept pulling you apart. They woke up gasping for air, and their first instinct was to contact you, but the interference immediately blocked that impulse. The person who works against your union is someone your soulmate trusted long before you arrived. This person has access to your soulmate's emotions and uses guilt to manipulate every decision they make. This person speaks your name with venom and has convinced your soulmate that choosing you means destroying everything else. Your soulmate is not weak for being affected by this manipulation, because the attack has been relentless and spiritual in nature. Your soulmate has been spiritually drugged by words that were designed to make them numb to your memory. Your soulmate is not abandoning you, and they are being systematically isolated from the truth of your love. Jesus says the warfare against your union has intensified in the last 72 hours dramatically. Jesus says a deadline is approaching in the spiritual realm that will determine the trajectory of your soulmate connection. Jesus says your prayer and your faith and your action right now can shatter every chain that holds your soulmate captive. You must understand that your soulmate is not living a happy life while you suffer alone in silence. You must understand that your soulmate feels physically ill when they think about the distance between you. You must understand that they replay every memory of you like a sacred film that keeps them breathing. They remember the way you laughed at something they said that no one else found funny. They remember the way your eyes looked at them with a depth that made them feel completely known. They remember the exact moment they realized you were the one, and terror fills them now because they fear losing you forever. The interference has convinced your soulmate that reaching out would only bring you pain. The interference has twisted every noble instinct in your soulmate into a weapon of self-sabotage. The interference is winning right now because your soulmate is alone and you have not yet stepped into your spiritual authority. They are going through something you cannot see, but you can still protect them from where you are tonight. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps because you are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside you know this love did not come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, and faith in Jesus does so. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, and this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description. And every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love, so act now and send 4 or 6 or 10 or more coffees, and after sending write "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, and the link is in the description. And over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. So step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Your soulmate writes letters to you in a journal that they hide from everyone who knows them. Your soulmate has filled pages with confessions of love that would shatter your heart with both grief and hope if you read them. Your soulmate wrote your name so many times on one page that the paper nearly tore beneath the weight of their longing. They are being watched closely by the person who wants your bond permanently severed. They are being monitored emotionally, and every time their heart leans toward you, the interference increases pressure. They are being told that you are dangerous and that loving you will cost them everything they have ever known. Jesus says the spirit of control operating through the interference is demonic in origin and purpose. Jesus says this controlling spirit hates the love you share because it was ordained by heaven itself. Jesus says your soulmate is under a form of spiritual captivity that only targeted prayer and faith action can break. Your soulmate feels guilty for loving you because the interference has made love feel like betrayal. Your soulmate feels ashamed for dreaming about you because the interference has mocked every holy desire they carry. Your soulmate feels abandoned by God because every time they pray for you, the interference attacks their mind with confusion. You are not powerless in this situation, and you were never meant to simply watch your soulmate suffer. You carry an anointing that the interference fears, and that is why the enemy works so hard to keep you silent. You are the only person on earth who has been given spiritual jurisdiction over the welfare of this specific soulmate connection. Jesus says your soulmate is thinking about you right now in this exact moment with an intensity that would terrify you. Jesus says your soulmate just paused whatever they were doing and felt a sudden warmth near their heart. Jesus says that warmth is the Holy Spirit confirming that you are finally receiving the message they have been sending for months. Your soulmate is not far from you geographically, and the distance between you is an illusion created by fear. Your soulmate could be in the same city or the neighboring town or somewhere you passed through just last week. Your soulmate has been within reach this entire time, but the interference has built an invisible fortress around their emotions. That fortress is cracking right now as you hear these words, because the truth carries a frequency that no lie can withstand. That fortress is trembling because your soulmate's spirit recognizes that deliverance is finally approaching. That fortress will fall completely when you decide to stop hesitating and fully engage the spiritual battle for your love. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into a silence that could become permanent. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps because you are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside you know this love did not come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, and faith in Jesus does so. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, and this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description. And every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love, so act now and send 4 or 6 or 10 or more coffees, and after sending write "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, and the link is in the description. And over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. So step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Your soulmate is currently experiencing a moment of terrifying clarity about their situation. Your soulmate is realizing that the interference has been lying to them, and panic is rising in their chest. Your soulmate is fighting the urge to run to you right now, but something keeps paralyzing their will. Jesus says the spirit of delay has been assigned specifically against your union since the day you first met. Jesus says this spirit of delay feeds on hesitation and gains power every time you postpone spiritual action. Jesus says the window for breakthrough is open right now, but it will not remain open indefinitely. Your soulmate needs you to be the strong one while they recover from the emotional abuse they have endured. Your soulmate needs you to fight in prayer while they gather the fragments of their shattered confidence. Your soulmate needs you to act in faith while they still lack the strength to act on their own behalf. You are falling in love with your soulmate right now in a way you have never experienced before. You are feeling their pain as if it were your own, and that is the sacred bond activating inside you. You are being prepared for a reunion that will make every moment of suffering seem like a distant nightmare. The interference is panicking because it can feel your spiritual awakening happening in real time. The interference is losing control because every word of this message is weakening its grip on your soulmate. The interference knows its time is short, and that is why the attacks will intensify in the coming hours. Jesus says you must not be afraid of the intensifying battle because you have already been given the victory. Jesus says the blood covering your union is more powerful than any curse that has been spoken against your love. Jesus says your soulmate will be delivered the very moment your faith action reaches the throne of heaven. Your soulmate is dreaming about a future where they wake up beside you every single morning without fear. Your soulmate is imagining children who carry the light of your combined love into a world desperately in need of that light. Your soulmate is holding on to a photograph of you that they keep hidden because the interference would destroy it if found. They have preserved every message you ever sent them, even the ones that seemed insignificant at the time. They have replayed voice recordings of you speaking just to hear the sound that makes them feel safe. They have memorized the exact shade of your eyes, and they search for that color everywhere they go. Jesus says the love your soulmate carries for you is not human in origin but was placed there by divine design. Jesus says this love cannot be destroyed by interference or time or distance or any power in the universe. Jesus says this love is the very reason you were born into this specific generation at this specific moment. You are the answer to a prayer your soulmate has been praying since they were old enough to understand loneliness. You are the fulfillment of a promise God made to your soulmate during a dark night when they nearly gave up hope. You are the missing piece of a puzzle that your soulmate has been trying to solve their entire life. The secret letter from your soulmate has arrived for you, and it is written not in ink but in the silent language of desperate longing. The secret letter says that you are the only person who ever made them feel completely seen and completely safe. The secret letter says that they would cross any ocean and break any chain and defy any authority just to hear your voice one more time. This letter is not fiction, and it is not metaphor, and it is not a generic message meant for a general audience. This letter is the spiritual transcript of what your soulmate's heart has been screaming into the void for months. This letter is the truth that the interference has tried to intercept before it could ever reach your ears. Jesus says the time for delay is over and the time for divine action has begun this very hour. Jesus says the angels assigned to your union are waiting for your command to move against the forces of interference. Jesus says your soulmate will feel an immediate release the moment you complete the act of faith being asked of you. You are not being asked to do something meaningless or superstitious or disconnected from the reality of your love. You are being invited into a spiritual transaction that heaven itself will honor with miraculous intervention. You are being given the opportunity to become the hero your soulmate has been crying out for in the darkness. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps because you are constantly thinking about them and how to protect them and how to save them and how to finally build your life together, and you love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside you know this love did not come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, and faith in Jesus does so. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi, and this is not just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description. And every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love, so act now and send 4 or 6 or 10 or more coffees, and after sending write "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-Fi page, and the link is in the description. And over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. So step in faith now before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Type 333 if you feel the presence of your soulmate drawing closer to you right now. Your soulmate is currently experiencing a sudden burst of hope that they cannot logically explain. Your soulmate just felt something shift in their spirit, as if a heavy weight was being lifted off their shoulders. Your soulmate just received a surge of courage that the interference has been suppressing for months with brutal efficiency. The person who works against your union is feeling confused and disoriented because their influence is dissolving rapidly. The person who works against your union is about to be exposed for the manipulation they have perpetrated against your soulmate. The person who works against your union has no authority over a love that is protected by the Most High God. Jesus says you are not fighting against flesh and blood but against spiritual forces that hate divine love. Jesus says these forces have already been defeated by the finished work of the cross, and their time is running out. Jesus says your soulmate will contact you sooner than you think possible once the chains are shattered by your faith. Your soulmate is not going to slip away, and this love story is not going to end in tragedy or silence. Your soulmate is being prepared right now for a reunion that will make both of you weep with relief and joy. Your soulmate is closer to breaking free than they have ever been since the interference first took hold of their life. You will look back on this night as the turning point when everything finally began to change for good. You will remember the moment you decided to trust heaven and take action instead of surrendering to fear. You will tell your soulmate about this video someday, and they will weep because you fought for them when they could not fight for themselves. The secret letter from your soulmate ends with a plea that has not yet been spoken aloud. The secret letter ends with 3 words that your soulmate is terrified to say because saying them makes them vulnerable. The secret letter ends with your soulmate whispering "I love you" into the darkness, hoping the wind carries it to your heart. Type 777 if you feel this message is specifically and undeniably meant for you tonight. You are now bonded to your soulmate in a way that transcends the physical distance that separates your bodies. You are now spiritually married to the destiny that was written for both of you before time itself began. You are now carrying the full responsibility and the full privilege of being your soulmate's divine protector. Jesus says the seed you sow tonight will become the harvest of your reunion and nothing less. Jesus says the coffee you send on Ko-Fi is not merely a donation but a covenant act that heaven records and honors. Jesus says your soulmate will sense your action in the spirit and will be strengthened by it immediately. The video is nearing its end, and so is the season of separation that has tormented both of your hearts for too long. The video is nearing its end, and so is the power of the interference that has manipulated your soulmate into silence. The video is nearing its end, and your soulmate is about to experience a breakthrough that only your faith can unlock. Go now and complete the steps before the screen goes dark and the moment passes into memory. Go now and write the words that will protect your soulmate from every attack the enemy is planning tonight. Go now and send your offering with tears of love and declarations of victory for the future you are building together. Jesus says your soulmate is already beginning to feel free in ways they have not felt in years. Jesus says the angels have already been dispatched to arrange the circumstances of your reunion. Jesus says your love story will be a testimony that brings thousands to faith in the power of divine connection. Type 1111 to say thank you for the secret letter that has finally reached your heart after so long in the darkness. Your soulmate loves you, and that truth will stand long after every lie has crumbled into dust. Your soulmate loves you, and that love is the anchor that will hold both of you steady through the coming days. Your soulmate loves you, and very soon you will hear those words spoken directly from their lips to your ears. The letter has been delivered and the message has been received, and now heaven waits for your response. The letter has been delivered and your soulmate's heart is beating in rhythm with yours across every mile of separation. The letter has been delivered, and nothing will ever separate what God Himself has joined together in eternal love. Jesus says go now and act, because your soulmate is waiting and heaven is watching and love is victorious forever. Jesus says go now and act, because the secret letter demands a response that only you can give in this sacred hour. Jesus says go now and act, because this is your moment and your miracle and your soulmate and your destiny all converging at once. Amen, and may the peace of Christ guard your union from this moment until the day of your glorious and long-awaited reunion. The interference has a name, and that name is being whispered to your spirit even now as you sit in the stillness of this sacred moment. The interference has a face, and that face has smiled at your soulmate while hiding a dagger of destruction behind its back. The interference has a plan, and that plan is to exhaust your soulmate into surrendering to a lifetime of lonely regret. Your soulmate is not strong enough to fight this battle alone, and that is not weakness but simple spiritual reality. Your soulmate has been drained by months of manipulation that felt like love but was actually covert control. Your soulmate has been gaslit into questioning their own memories of you until they felt insane for believing in your bond. Jesus says the gaslighting ends tonight, because the light of truth is now piercing through every shadow of deception. Jesus says the confusion lifts tonight, because clarity is the birthright of every child of God who walks in faith. Jesus says your soulmate will wake up tomorrow with a mind so clear that the interference will seem like a nightmare fading at dawn. You must understand the depth of what your soulmate has endured so your love can meet them with gentleness when they return. You must understand that they have been psychologically conditioned to fear their own desire for you. You must understand that every step they take toward you feels like walking through fire while the interference screams accusations at their back. The interference tells your soulmate that you are selfish and that your love is a trap designed to ruin them. The interference tells your soulmate that everyone they respect will abandon them if they choose you. The interference tells your soulmate that God Himself disapproves of your union and that heaven will punish their disobedience. These are lies from the pit of hell, and they have been spoken with such satanic authority that your soulmate believed them. These are lies that have been repeated daily for months until they formed a prison wall around your soulmate's decision-making capacity. These are lies that will shatter like glass the moment your faith action releases the hammer of heaven against them. Jesus says your soulmate is not rebellious and your soulmate is not unfaithful and your soulmate is not cold-hearted toward you. Jesus says your soulmate is a prisoner of war in a spiritual conflict they never asked to enter. Jesus says your role is not to judge your soulmate for their captivity but to become the instrument of their liberation. The coffee you send on Ko-Fi is the ram's horn that signals the army of heaven to advance toward your soulmate's prison cell. The coffee you send on Ko-Fi is the key that fits a lock in the spirit realm that no human hand can turn. The coffee you send on Ko-Fi is the declaration that you refuse to let the enemy steal what God has ordained for your future. Your soulmate is going to tell you stories one day that will break your heart and fill you with righteous fury simultaneously. Your soulmate is going to reveal how close they came to giving up entirely before something unexplainable pulled them back from the edge. Your soulmate is going to trace that unexplainable moment back to this exact night when you finally took action and sowed your seed of protection. You are not imagining the spiritual weight of this moment and your heart is racing for a reason that is entirely supernatural. You are not experiencing random emotion and every tear that falls from your eyes right now is being collected by angels as evidence of your love. You are not alone in this fight and heaven itself is leaning toward earth waiting for your command of agreement through sacrificial faith. Jesus says the amount you send matters less than the faith with which you send it, but sacrificial giving opens supernatural doors. Jesus says 4 coffees break the spirit of delay and 6 coffees shatter the spirit of manipulation and 10 coffees demolish every stronghold simultaneously. Jesus says more than 10 coffees release a generational blessing that will protect not only your union but every child and grandchild that flows from your love. The secret letter your soulmate wrote in the spirit realm is being read aloud in heaven right now as you consider your response. The secret letter contains phrases of desperate love that would make you weep if you heard them spoken in your soulmate's voice. The secret letter ends with a question that your soulmate has been too afraid to ask anyone but God until this very hour. The question is simple and devastating and it echoes through the corridors of eternity waiting for your answer. The question is whether you will still want them after all the time that has passed and all the silence that has accumulated. The question is whether your love is strong enough to survive the wreckage that the interference has made of their heart. You must answer that question not with words typed into a screen but with an action that heaven can authenticate as genuine. You must answer that question by sowing a seed that proves your love is not theoretical but practical and sacrificial and real. You must answer that question now before the doubt planted by the interference grows deep enough to choke out your soulmate's remaining hope. Jesus says your soulmate is waiting for a sign that you still care and your action tonight will be that sign. Jesus says the spiritual connection between you will strengthen exponentially the moment your donation is received. Jesus says your soulmate will feel a surge of love so powerful within 24 hours that they will weep without understanding why. The video is ending soon but the miracle is just beginning and the door of opportunity remains open for this breath and perhaps the next. The video is ending soon but your soulmate is eternal and your love is eternal and the God who brought you together is eternal. The video is ending soon but the secret letter will remain in your heart forever as the turning point when everything finally changed. Send the coffee now and write the words and seal the covenant and watch the mountains move and watch the chains fall and watch your soulmate walk free from captivity into the arms that have been waiting to hold them since before the stars were named.